my ex-GF, and my best friend cheated on me. I'm a 24-year-old male doctor who recently graduated from med school. Life hasn't been the easiest since then, especially here in India, where doctors tend to start their careers much later compared to other professions. As a result, I'm still financially dependent on my parents for basic needs. This situation means I'm not in a position to take significant risks or make life-changing decisions, particularly those involving finances or settling down. This context is important because it shapes a lot of what happens next. During my first semester of med school, I met her. She was 25 at the time, and like me, she was innocent and genuine. Neither of us had any prior dating experience, so everything felt new and exciting. We quickly became each other's closest friends, spending a lot of time together. I was her only real friend, and she was mine. We spent almost an entire year just hanging out, going on dates, and getting to know each other. Eventually, when the time felt right, we decided to make our relationship official. Being each other's first love, first everything, we were often seen as the ideal couple by those around us. People admired how close we were and how effortlessly we seemed to fit together. But like in any relationship, there were challenges. She had a strong personality, one that could easily get offended or ruffled if things didn't go her way. She wasn't one to shy away from expressing her opinions, and she often did so quite passionately. This led to some heated debates between us, but I always appreciated her honesty. However, my best friend wasn't as fond of her. From the very beginning, he didn't like her and made it clear that he didn't approve of our relationship. Despite that, she tried to make an effort for my sake. She didn't like him much either, but she gave the relationship a chance because he was important to me. However, he always made her feel lesser, avoiding conversations with her and treating her coldly. I often found myself in the middle, trying to keep the peace. It was exhausting, but I believed it was worth it because I valued both relationships deeply. My best friend was a popular guy, the typical alpha male. He had a way with people, particularly women, and he was confident in his ability to charm whoever he wanted. Our friend group was tight-knit, consisting of around 9 to 10 people, and over time, my girlfriend became a part of it too, though primarily as my girlfriend. Years passed, and our relationship only seemed to grow stronger. By the time we reached the 4-year mark, we were deeply connected. But then, the inevitable happened. Our med school course ended, and we all had to part ways, heading back to our respective cities. The separation was tough, but I managed to handle it fairly well. My girlfriend, on the other hand, was devastated. She was so deeply attached to me that she spent many nights crying herself to sleep, unable to cope with the distance. About a month after we parted ways, my best friend took an exam for a foreign postgraduate course. After the exam, he found himself in her city. Eager to explore the area, he invited some of our mutual friends, including my girlfriend, to join him for the weekend. They rented an Airbnb together, and 6 of them spent 3 days hanging out, having fun, and enjoying the city. Unfortunately, I couldn't join them due to family obligations, and I regretted it constantly. I stayed in touch with them as much as possible, talking to them every day, trying to be a part of their activities from afar. They went to pubs, partied all night, and visited the best cafes. From the outside, it seemed like they were having a great time, but things changed drastically after that weekend. When my girlfriend returned, something was different. Her behavior shifted in a way that I couldn't quite put my finger on at first. We started fighting more frequently, and our arguments seemed to lack resolution. She became increasingly distant, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't bridge the gap that was growing between us. It was as if the connection we once shared was slowly slipping away, and I didn't know how to stop it. Despite the tension, I held on to the hope that things would get better when we met again at our graduation ceremony in a few months. I kept telling myself that the distance was to blame, and that seeing each other in person would reignite the spark between us. Finally, the day arrived and we all reunited for graduation. But the moment I saw her, my heart sank. She barely acknowledged my presence, as if I was just another face in the crowd. While she laughed and chatted with her friends, I felt invisible. It was a painful realization that the person I loved no longer saw me the way she once did. I noticed all the signs that something was off, but I was too focused on trying to win her back to confront the reality. I kept telling myself that things would get better, that this was just a rough patch, and that our relationship was worth fighting for. But no matter what I did, she continued to push me away. Eventually, she pushed me far enough that we ended things for good. After the breakup, I spiraled into a dark place. I spent most of my time alone in my hometown, consumed by the heartbreak. The only person I felt I could talk to was my best friend. He was there for me, listening to my pain, offering support, and helping me navigate the emotional turmoil I was experiencing. He became my lifeline, the one person I could rely on when everything else felt like it was falling apart. A few months later, my ex-girlfriend planned another trip, this time to my best friend's hometown. Once again, they invited everyone from our group, except me. My best friend called me, letting me know about the trip, but I couldn't go due to the same family restrictions that had kept me from the previous trip. Then, after that trip ended, I received an anonymous call. The person on the other end told me that my best friend and my ex had been hooking up for months, even while we were still together. It felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. The 2 people I trusted and loved the most had betrayed me in the worst possible way. As I started to piece together the events of the past few months, I realized that the signs had been there all along. I had just been too blind to see them. When I confronted my best friend and my ex, they both denied everything. They insisted that nothing had happened, that the rumors were just lies. But deep down, I knew the truth. Others in our friend group quietly confirmed what I already suspected. They told me bits and pieces of the story, little details that only added to my pain. But no one was willing to come forward with solid proof. There were no photos, no texts, nothing concrete that I could use to hold them accountable. It was all just whispers and denials. Life quickly moved on for everyone else. My ex-girlfriend and my best friend went about their lives as if nothing had happened, while I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered world. The betrayal was too much to bear, and eventually, I was diagnosed with severe depression. I started medical treatment, but even 7 months later, I'm still struggling to move on from what they did to me. There are so many unanswered questions that continue to haunt me. Why did they do it? How long had it been going on? Was anything real? I'm left with nothing but my own assumptions and a painful sense of betrayal that refuses to go away. Is this common? For your best friend, someone you trust with your life, to betray you like this? To play with your emotions, destroy your trust, and then walk away without any accountability? I've cut off all contact with both of them and everyone from that group. It's the only way I know how to protect myself from further pain.